Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you? I hope you'd be fine. Today we are going to start with chapter number 2, exercise 2.1 of Cambridge Lower Secondary Book 7. And it is related to algebra. Students, you probably have heard this word before, or maybe this is something altogether new for you. But never mind, it is just similar to numbers that you have learned so far. So let's start from the beginning. Here, question number 1 says Sophia has a bag that contains n counters. What does this n tells us? Basically, when we don't know the actual number of something, we use some alphabets. Okay? And these alphabets are called variables because they're why are they called variables? Variable comes from the word vary means the thing that gets changed. Okay, so we don't know what is that number, so we are using a letter. It could be any letter. It could be A, B, C, X, Y, Z, M, N, O, any letter you wanna use over here. Okay, students, so here it says Sophia has a bag that contains n counters. We don't know how many counters that Sophia's bag has, so we use the word n over here. You have to write an expression for the total number of counters she has in the bag when she puts in two more counters. Okay, so students, if I give you a situation that initially Sophia has 10 counters in her bag, okay, if it would be 10 over here, and then I would say that she puts in two more. So what would you do with 10? You will write 10 plus 2, right? This is the new total number of counters she would have. But here, the initial number of counters was n, so we will write it as n plus 2, right? This is called an expression. When we combine two or more numbers with variables and put the sign of plus or minus, it becomes an expression. So this is called a mathematical sentence containing variables and constants. Okay? The next we are having is she takes out three counters. Initially, she had n counters, and then she takes out, let's say, she had 10 counters initially, and she is taking out three. So it would be 10 minus 3. But since she had n counters initially, and she is taking out three counters out of it, so she'll be left with n minus 3 counters. Okay, my dear students, I hope it is now clear. So it will be n minus 3. So what have we learned about in this question so far? It is about the variable, then an expression, and how to form an expression using unknown numbers. So students, we can conclude over here that in algebra, we can use letters to represent an unknown number, okay? And that is called a variable. So an expression contains numbers and letters, but not an equals to sign. Okay, there is no equals to sign. As you can see that in both A and B, we have n plus 2 and minus 3, but no equals to sign. And when we talk about an equation, so an equation contains numbers and letters and an equal sign, because equation comes from the word equate. Equation. Equation comes from the word equal. So if I would say that n plus 2 equals 5, this is called an equation. But n plus 2 without equals to sign would be an expression. Okay? And then in this expression n plus 2, there are two terms. N and 2 are two terms. This is one term, this is another term. This is first term and this is second term. So we are having two terms in this expression. Okay. And then we have the letter n. This is called variable. And because it have different values, and the coefficient, the number before the variable is called its coefficient. For example, I have 5n, 2n, 16n, 2 upon 3n, minus 4 upon 5n, and so on. Okay, so these are called its coefficients. 5 is a coefficient. The number attached to a variable is called its coefficient. Okay, so if we do not have any number before a variable, then what will be the coefficient? The coefficient will be hidden. It will be 1. So the coefficient of n in n plus 2 will be 1. Okay. If there is no number attached to a variable, always remember the coefficient will be 1. And this is called coefficient because it is the number that multiplies the variable. Always remember the coefficient is getting multiplied to the variable. Okay. And then the number alone, all alone without any variable is called a constant. So here 2 is a constant. So these are the basics of algebra. Now let's move to question number 2. Okay. Question number 2 says discuss in pairs or groups. Zara uses the following method to answer question number 1. She's saying first I said that Sophia has 10 counters instead of n. Okay, she is also supposing that Sophia had said 10 counters. For part A, I need to work out 10 plus 2. For part B, I need to work out 10 minus 3. The same thing we did. And then I replaced the 10 with n. So part A becomes n plus 2. Part B becomes n minus 3. So what do you think of Zara's method? It is very convenient. It is very useful. It's helpful for the beginners. Okay. And do you think that this method will help you write expressions? Of course, because we have done the same way in question number 1. Okay. Now comes question number 3. So question number 3 says the temperature on Tuesday was T degrees Celsius. We don't know what was the temperature. So we are saying that it was T degrees Celsius. Write an expression for the temperature when it is 2 degrees higher. So higher means the temperature will be increasing. When it is lower means it is decreasing. So upon increasing, what happens? It will become T plus 2. And then it says twice. Twice means double. Twice means double, and double means multiply by 2. And I told you that when we multiply a number by, when we multiply a variable by a number, what happens? It gets attached to it as a coefficient. So twice as warm as it was on Tuesday. So initially it was T degrees on Tuesday, and then in part A, it was 2 degrees higher, but the second expression says twice as warm as it was on Tuesday. So it will be 2t. Why? Because when we will multiply t with 2, what will happen? It will become 2t. 2t means 2 multiplied by t. And t multiplied by 2 or 2 multiplied by t are same. This is called commutative law. You have already learned it in grade 5 that when we multiply a number by another number, we can write it in any order. Okay, it doesn't matter. So 2t means 2 multiplied by t or t multiplied by 2. Half as warm as it was on Tuesday. Half means divided by 2. Okay, you must know these terms. Half means 1 upon 2, meaning divided by 2. So whenever you have to do half of something, you simply have to divide it by 2. So here it would become t upon 2. That's all. Okay, my dear students, this is how you're gonna solve this one. Let's move to question number 4. Now, question number 4 says write an expression for the answer to each of these. The first one says Dravid has X DVDs. X DVDs. Okay. He buys 6 more. So here comes plus 6. 6 more means he is adding 6 more DVDs. How many DVDs does Dravid have now? So he has X plus 6 DVDs. Part B says Molly is M years old. Okay. Barney is B years old. What is their total age? So it's M plus B. This will be the total. How do we find a total age? By adding the ages of two or more people. Since their ages is given in variables, so we'll simply add the variables. Okay. Now the expert says that can store G photographs on one memory card. Okay, fine. G photographs, let's say it could be 100 photographs or 200 photographs or 300 photographs on one memory card. How many photographs can he store on three memory cards? On one memory card, he can store G. On second memory card, he can store G. On third memory card, he can store G. So it's G plus G plus G. Okay. Instead of writing it G plus G plus G, how do we write 2 plus 2 plus 2? We write it as 2 multiplied by 3. So here we can write it as 3G. 3G means G multiplied by 3, because when we have repeated addition, instead of writing it in addition form, how do we write it down? We write it in multiplication, because repeated addition is equals to multiplication. So just like 2 plus 2 plus 2 is equals to 2 multiplied by 3. So same here, G plus G plus G is equals to G multiplied by 3, which is ultimately 3G. Okay. Now, in question number 5, again, you have to discuss in pairs or groups. How would you write an expression for each of these? I think of a number x. Okay, in all of these situations, you are thinking a number x, 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 and x. Okay, and the next thing it says in part A, I multiply the number by 6. So it's x multiplied by 6, and then add 1 into it. So it's plus 1. So students, how can we write it in the next part? X multiplied by 6. Whenever we multiply a variable with a number, what happens? It becomes its coefficient. So instead of writing it x multiplied by 6, we can write it as 6x plus 1. Okay. Then part B says, I think of a number x, I multiply the number by 4. So it's x multiplied by 4. Then subtract 9. So it will become minus 9. So x multiplied by 4 again would be replaced by 4x. So the new expression will be 4x minus 9. Part C says, I think of a number x, I divided the number by 6. So it's x divided by 6. Then subtract 1. So how can we write it down? We can write x divided by 6 minus 1 as x upon 6. It's similar to writing 12 divided by 6. So 12 divided by 6 can be written in the form of fraction. 12 upon 6. Same here, it will be written as x upon 6 minus 1. Next we have, I think of a number x, I divided the number by 2. So same here, it will become x upon 2, then add 7. So it will become plus 7. Okay. Next we have, I think of a number x. I multiply the number by 2. Okay. So it's going to become 2x because we are multiplying it by 2. Then subtract the result from 25. Okay. If I would say that subtract the result, I do not say then subtract the result. I would say that then subtract 25. So it would be 2x minus 25. But when I would say from 25 in subtraction, what happens? The number written after 25, from 25 would become 25 minus 2x. And remember one thing over here, students, you cannot write 25 minus 2x as 2x minus 25. This will be wrong. This is called commutative law because we know that 2 plus 3 is equals to 3 plus 2. Why? Because 2 plus 3 gives us 5, 3 plus 2 gives us 5. Both are same. So this is called commutative law of addition. Similarly, 3 multiplied by 4 is equals to 4 multiplied by 3 because both of them gives us the same answer. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. So 4 multiplied by 3 is 12. So this applies to both addition and multiplication. But when it comes to subtraction, 10 minus 4 is not equals to 4 minus 10. Why? Because we have already learned in integers that 10 minus 4, the sign of the greater number comes in addition and subtraction. So 10 minus 4 gives us a positive answer, whereas 4 minus 10 gives us a negative answer. And so they are not equal because 6 and minus 6 are not equal to each other. Same, if I would have 12 divided by 6, it is not equals to 6 divided by 12. Why? Because 12 divided by 6 is 12 upon 6, which when simplified gives us 2 whole. Whereas 6 divided by 12 when written as 6 upon 12 becomes 6 ones are 6, 6 twos are 12, and that's 1 upon 2. So this is 2 whole and this is half. Both are not equal. You cannot write 2 and 1 upon 2 in place of one another because they are altogether different numbers. 2 whole means I have 2 pizzas. And 1 upon 2 means I have only a half pizza. So are the two equal? No, not at all. Okay. So remember this thing, students. So here when it says I multiply the number by 2, it becomes 2x, right? But then I have to subtract this 2x from 25. So it's going to be 25 minus 2x and not 2x minus 25. Okay. Next, we have question number 6, which says Maliha thinks of a number y. Fine. Let's write it here. Write an expression for the number Maliha gets when she multiplies the number by 3. So if she multiplies y by 3, it will become 3y. Next, she says she thinks of a number y and divides y by 2. So it will become y upon 2. Right? Because when we are dividing something by other thing, so that something will come in the numerator and the other thing will go in the denominator. Next, they're saying multiplies the number by 4. So it's 4y, then adds 1. It will become plus 1. Next, we have multiplies the number by 2. So it will become 2y. Then subtract 5. So it's minus 5. Next, we have multiplies the number by 5. So it will be 5y. Then subtract the result from 52. So this time it will not be 5y minus 52. Instead, it will be 52 minus 5y. Try to understand the difference between number 4 and number 5. Initially, it was 2y minus 5. Now it is 52 minus 5y. And you cannot write it as 5 minus 2y or 5y minus 252. If you'll do so, the answer will be wrong. Okay. Next, we are having part 6, divides the number by 4. Okay. Divides the number by 4. So it's y upon 4. Then add 3. So it will be plus 3. Divides the number, divides y. The number is y. So it's basically divides y by 4. So it's y upon 4. And then add 3. So it will become plus 3. Okay. Now they're saying in part B, check your expressions are correct by replacing the y by a number. So if you write down a number like, for example, write 20 over here, or you can write 10, and then you will see that the answers would be correct. Like multiply is 10 by 3, it will become 3 multiply by 10. Okay, divides the number by 2. So 10 divided by 2 multiplies the number by 4. 4 tens are 40, then adds 1, 40 plus 1, 41. Multiplies the number by 2. 2 multiplied by 10, 20. Then subtract 5, 20 minus 5 becomes 15. Then multiplies the number by 5. So it's 10 fives are 50. Then subtract the result from 52. So it will be 52 minus 50, that's 2. Divides the number by 4. 10 divided by 4 is 2.5. Then adds 3. So it's 2.5 plus 3, and that's 5.5. Okay. Now, question number 7 says Zara is classifying some expression cards into groups of equivalent expressions. Equivalent expressions means their value would be same. Okay. So there are some expressions given in B, and what do we have to do? Zara is saying the expression 5n plus 4 is the same as 5 multiplied by n plus 4. and 4 plus 5n. Okay, fine. Yes, we know that these are same. Why? Because 5n plus 4 is made by 5 multiplied by n. Because 5 multiplied by n is equals to 5n. Both are equal. So 5 multiplied by n plus 4 or 5n plus 4 are the same. Also, we can write it like this. 5n 5 multiplied by n here and plus 4 here, because we know that when we have two numbers getting added, so we can write them in any order, commutative law, remember. So we can also write it as 4 plus 5n. So these are called equivalent expressions because they all have the same value. 5 multiplied by n plus 4 or 5n plus 4. Similarly, 4 plus 5 multiplied by n or 4 plus 5n. They'll all have same value. Why? Because 5 multiplied by n is equals to 5n in all these situations. Okay. This is, you can say, a single term. Okay. So you have to classify these cards into, explain why Zara is correct. Because 5 multiplied by n is equals to 5n. And in all these situations, she'll get the same answer. Therefore, they are all equivalent expressions and she is absolutely correct. Now, what do we have to do? We have to classify these cards into groups of equivalent expressions. So if we talk about 2n plus 3, let us first make the expressions of our own. So if we talk about 2n plus 3, so how can we write it as? We can write it as 2 multiplied by n plus 3. Also, let me use two different pens so it will be easy for you. 2n plus 3 is equals to 2 multiplied by n plus 3. Also, we can write it as 3 plus 2n, or we can write it as 3 plus 2 multiplied by n. So we can write it in four different ways. Okay. Let us find out that where do we have 2n plus 3? It's A. Is there any 2 multiplied by n plus 3? It's D. Then 3 plus 2n, it's G. Then 3 plus 2 multiplied by n. 3 plus 2 multiplied by n, it's K. So it means these are equivalent expressions A, D, G, K. Now let's do the same thing with 2 multiplied by n minus 3. Okay, fine. We have now 2n. Oh, it's first 2 multiplied by n. 2 multiplied by n can be written as 2n. 2 multiplied by n and 2n. And the next number is minus 3. Minus 3. So here I'll write it minus 3. Minus 3. Then what should I write before 2 multiplied by n? It is positive, so I will write plus sign. Okay, so these are equivalent expressions. Let's find out their respective letters. 2 multiplied by n minus 3 is B. 2n minus 3. 2n minus 3. It's I. Minus 3 plus 2 multiplied by n. There's no such expression. So let's just remove them. It means B and I are equivalent. Now let's figure out for 3 multiplied by n plus 2. 3 multiplied by n plus 2. 3 multiplied by n plus 2 can be written as 3n plus 2, can also be written as 2 plus 3n, or can be written as 2 plus 3 multiplied by n. Let's figure out their respective letters. So it's 3 multiplied by n plus 2 is C. Then 3n plus 2 is J. Then 2 plus 3n is h. And then 2 plus 3 multiplied by n is L. So again, we have a group of 4 equivalent expressions. And what are we left with? So it's 3 minus 2n, 3 minus 2 multiplied by n, and 2 plus 3 multiplied by n. No, this one is done. So we are already done with 10. Only 2 are left. 3 minus 2n and 3 minus 2 multiplied by n. So it's clear that these two are again equivalent, E and F. So we can say that A, D, G, K are equivalent. Then B and I are equivalent. And finally C, J, H and L are equivalent. Okay, students? Let's move to question number 8. In question number 8, it says this is part of Padro's classwork. Fine. And in a clothes shop, t-shirts cost T dollars and shirts cost S dollars. There are two different types of items. T-shirts, their cost is T, and then shirts, they cost S dollars. You have to write down an expression for their total cost. For part A, it was one t-shirt and one shirt. So it will be one t-shirt cost T, one shirt costs S. So it will be T plus S. Oh, Padro wrote T multiplied by S. Oh, it's not multiplication since they are finding the total cost, and the total cost is the sum of one t-shirt and one shirt, not their product. Okay, by mistake he has found the product instead of the sum. And then four t-shirts will be 4T. Why? Because it's one t-shirt cost T, so 4 t-shirts cost 4 multiplied by T, which is 4T. Okay, and two shirts, one shirt cost S, so two shirts cost S multiplied by 2, that's 2S, and their total cost will be 4T plus 2S. And what has Pedro written? He has by mistake written the numbers, he has jumbled up the numbers, he wrote the numbers incorrectly. It's supposed to be 4T instead of 2T and 2S instead of 4S. So these are the mistakes that Pedro has made, and the correct statements are these. T plus S for A. For B, it's 4T plus 2S. Okay. Now, question number 9 says write an expression for each of these situations. You can choose your own letters, but make sure that you explain what your letter represents. So, the total cost of 2 tacos and 4 burritos. So, let's say there are the tacos are represented by T and burritos by B. So, it will be 2T plus 4B. Why? Because we are finding the total cost, total value, total value. Okay, in all these cases, we have to find out the total of 2 or more things. So it would be addition. 8 lemon cakes, let's say this is L. 8 lemon cakes would be 8L. 5 carrot cakes plus 5C. Then the total value of 6 gold coins. Let's say the gold coins is G. So it will be 6G. And it's doubled. The total value of 6 gold coins is doubled. I told you double means multiply by 2. So when we multiply 6G by 2, what will happen? We already have a coefficient with G, and that's 6. And then we are adding one more coefficient into it. So always remember, students, coefficients get multiplied to each other. Okay? So it would become 6 2s are 12, and that's 12G. Because we know that the double of 6G will be 6G plus 6G, and that's again 12G. So either you write 6G multiplied by 2, that's 12G, or you write 6G plus 6G, that's also 12G. Then the next part is the total value of 5 silver coins. 5 silver coins. So let's say this is 5C. Okay, 5 silver coins is tripled. So 5C multiplied by 3 equals to 15C. Or you can write it as 5c plus 5c plus 5c. So that's also 15c. Okay. Here's question number 10, which says write an expression for each of these. X more than y. Now they're just introducing some new words that can be used to explain expressions. So X more than Y is X plus Y. X more than Y. Okay? More than means plus, addition, doing sum. So it will be X plus Y, right? X less than Y, what would it be? Would it be X minus Y or Y minus X? Because X plus Y or Y plus X are same. You can write it in either ways. But what about X less than Y? We know that X plus Y and Y, X minus Y and Y minus X are not same. So what to do? Okay, so let's take an example. Let's say Y is 10 and X is 3. So what will be your expression? It will be 3 less than 10. So if it's 3 less than 10, it will be 10 minus 3, right? Basically, less than is an inequality symbol which is used to state that x has a smaller value than y. And since the value of x is smaller, it will be y minus x. Do not make a mistake in this one. It's not x minus y. It will always be y minus x if the expression says x less than y, because we know that x is not greater. It means we can subtract a smaller number from a greater number, not a greater number from a smaller. Then m more than 2 times n. Okay, fine. M more than is plus 2 times means 2 multiplied by n, and that's 2n. So m plus 2n will be the expression for part C. A less than means a will go later. It will be minus a. And from what is it less than? 3 times b. So it will be 3b. Most of the student makes mistakes in less than because it's minus sign and they gets confused. So if it says a less than, write it down as minus a. You can write it like this as well. Minus a plus 3b. Okay, if you are confident, then you can write it like this. If it says a less than 3 times b, so it's minus a plus 3b. Okay, it will not be a minus 3b. If you can write it like this, then fine. But this one is better because memorizing it in one way is better than memorizing it in 2 to 3 different ways. So it's 3b, 3 times b is 3b minus it. Times means multiply. Okay. Then p multiplied by q. When we multiply two numbers, we write it as 3 multiplied by 4. When we multiply two variables, we write it them down together. It will be pq. We don't need to write it like p multiplied by q, because when we write down a variable with a number, we will not write multiplication sign. Similarly, if we are writing two variables together, we don't need to write down any multiplication sign in between them. If it's addition, then we are supposed to write p plus q. We cannot write p plus q as pq. They are not equal. P multiplied by q is equals to pq. You have to learn all these rules of algebra. And then it says 4 times g. 4 times g is 4g multiplied by h. And since we are multiplying a variable with another variable, so we again don't need to write down a multiplication sign, and it's gonna be 4gh. 4 times g, 4g multiplied by h. That's all. Now, the last question of this exercise, where we are provided with two diagrams, and the diagram shows two rectangles, where the first rectangle is x centimeters by length, and the another rectangle is y centimeters by length. So the green rectangle on the left has a width of x centimeters as shown. This is the width. Okay, students, this is the width, and it is x centimeters. And then the length is 6 times the width. So you can say that width is x and the length is 3 times the width. What is width? It's x, so it will be 3x. If the width is x and length is 3 times of it, so the length will be 3x. No, it's 6 times, not 3 times. So it will be 6x. Okay? And the blue rectangle on the right has a width of y centimeters and the length is 3 centimeters more than 2 times the width. Oh my God. The length of blue rectangle, they are saying the length is 3 centimeters more, means 3 plus, then 2 times 2 multiply by width. And what is width? It's y. We're not writing w, we are writing y because y is expressing the width. So the length will be 3 plus 2y. Okay. Now, what do you have to do? You have to write an expression for the difference. Difference means subtract. Oh my God, they are introducing so much. Now you have to subtract the length of the rectangles. Since we have to subtract their lengths, so how are we supposed to do that? The green rectangle is bigger and the blue rectangle is smaller. As you can see, the rectangles are bigger, their lengths have a difference, and the length of green rectangle is more than the length of blue rectangle. So we will write down the length of green rectangle first, which is 6x. Okay, the length of green rectangle is 6x. Now we have to subtract, we have to find out the difference. And since the expression is having two terms, always remember students, if an expression has more than one term, it can be two or more terms. Always remember, if you are subtracting an expression having two or more terms from another expression, always write them down inside a bracket. So it will be 6x minus bracket 3 plus 2y. This will be the final answer of the difference in the length of the two rectangles. I know, students, it is a bit challenging because it's something new, but as soon as you'll practice more questions like this, it will become easy for you. If you want me to make some similar example questions, some practice questions for you, you can comment in the comment section and ask me for this. Just write down more practice questions and I'll prepare more such questions for you. And if you like the video, please hit the like button. Do subscribe to my channel if you are new. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Take care. Allah Hafiz.